In this week's exciting episode of G&T Sips and Giggles, Glenn and Tina dive into the vibrant festivities of the Belfast Pride launch. Tina shares her thrilling experience of winning an award, adding a personal touch to the celebration. The episode also features their popular Sips and Shares segment, where Glenn and Tina tackle another engaging listener question with their signature blend of silliness, advice and humour. So, grab your favourite drink and tune in for a joyful celebration of Belfast Pride, personal triumphs and heartfelt listener interactions, all delivered with a generous pour of laughter. Good morning, Glenn.
Good morning, Miss Tina. Good afternoon, listeners. And good evening. How are you?
I am absolutely over the moon. I mean, talk about cloud nine.
Well, first of all, we should start by saying this episode is a very special episode.
It is.
It's all things Pride. So you were saying you're over the moon. One might have been living under a rock the past couple of days. Why are you over the moon?
Well, the reason why I'm over the moon is, number one, it's Belfast Pride Week. And last night in the Clayton Hotel in city centre Belfast, we had the launch of our Belfast Pride.
We did, yes. We were up for a nomination.
And it was, such a beautiful, gorgeous, eloquent event. Everybody looked amazing. I love that. Every year, looking forward to the launch because everybody gets the opportunity to come together. One of the things that I love about that particular event is you get to see the grafters, as I call them. Do you know who I mean? The volunteers, the people who put everything together, who work 365 days a year to make sure Pride works and works for everybody. And I'm, as you well know, I am such a people watcher, you know, and every year you see new faces, you hear of new organizations, new businesses coming on board, and it does my heart the world of good, because that's the reason why I attend every single year. Because as I was saying last night, for over 30 years I was there when it was tiny. I was there when P.A. McLaughlin, God rest him, was champion, you know, really pushing for us and fighting for us. And the Pride marches were small, to say the least, but the hope was there. Yeah. And that's what I go with every year. And every year the hope gets bigger and bigger. Anyway.
But of course, you're just saying there about P.A. McLaughlin and the Pride, which were actual protests back then. They weren't parades. I mean, they were parades, but you were parading and marching in protest of oppression and, you know, inequality in terms of LGBTQ IA rights, etc. as well. So they were proper protests. And I remember seeing footage that the first Pride parade started with something like 30 people. Yeah, and as we discovered last night, Pride in 2023, there was 80,000 people there. Now, that's a phenomenal amount, and it's getting bigger and better every year. Yeah,
you're right. It was a protest in the beginning because we had to fight. We all had to fight, and we still fight. And although we dress it up now and we have a lot more fun and there is a lot more understanding from others, you know, and I'm not saying they embrace it, but to have that respect and that understanding that we are just as human as you are. That's all we've been saying all along. And we had to make a lot of noise, and we had to be in the middle of the road, and we had to have banners and placards, and that evolved. And I'm glad that it's become a parade. I'm glad that there's a lot of colour and everybody is welcome, you know, because it does my heart the world of good to see Belfast go from 30 people protesting, and now it becomes a parade where we're celebrating, but we're still fighting, and we always will.
So just before we go any further, we should just cheers to each other, because it is...
We don't say cheers.
We don't. We do say
chin chin.
Chin chin, listeners.
Chin chin, everybody. Happy Pride.
Yes, absolutely. And happy Pride, Belfast.
Jamaica.
It's a bit strong, to be honest. For day drinking, that's a bit strong for me.
Hold on a minute. Oh, here. That is delicious. Now, you know me, I love my Gordon's pink gin.
You do.
That reminds me of the gins in lockdown I had.
Really? Is this the ones where you were self-medicating?
Yeah.
You were self-pouring, where a normal gin, which was like 35 mil,
when
became
I had half,
350 mils?
Yeah. When I had half of Tesco's fruit and vegetables, and I was chopping all sorts, putting them in my pink gin, and it would have been maybe 20 minutes trying to decorate it. And by the time it was full up, there was about that much gin, that much tonic, and about this much fruit. Honest to me, he goes, it's like Clark's Fruit Shop in the Springfield Road.
So listen, we do have to talk about the fact that last night was the
Epic.
Pride Awards. Now, as most people will know, we were up as a drag troupe, shall we say, for Drags to Riches. We were up for Event of the Year for the event that we done last year, which was Drags to Riches Does the 80s.
Yeah.
And as you know, and perhaps maybe our listeners and potentially viewers will know, we didn't win.
No, we didn't. But you know what? To get that recognition to me was so special.
Yeah.
It really was. And when I was sitting there and I was watching everybody, and there was me and you and Azura and Fierce and also Pure, and also Lana, Miss Lana Doone couldn't be with us because she's celebrating her 21st birthday. God love her. And she's in America with her mama bear. They're in Kansas City, Dorothy. So they are. I just sat back and I had that lovely warm feeling again. You know, the glamour, the OTT makeup, the OTT costumes, jewellery, wigs.
But it was a who's who of the gay scene last night, wasn't it? There was... Everybody was out, and the atmosphere last night as well was electric. It was a real nice buzz about the place.
And can I also just say the food in the Clayton Hotel was gorgeous. The service.
Yeah. Although it did start a bit late now. I don't know about you, but
here we go.
Well, I was, you have to understand, I was getting hangry. You
weren't the only one, Pat.
I was so hungry. Like, I purposely
were.
Starved myself yesterday thinking, right, I'm going to have a nice big feed tonight. And then whenever they announced the dinner was starting at about 8 o'clock, I was like, oh, goodness.
Oh, no.
Goodness. But the soup was gorgeous. Really enjoyed it.
Everything was lovely. I have to give it to the staff in that hotel, in the Clayton Hotel. The reception, the service, the food, and punctuality when it actually started. Yeah. They were on fleek.
The staff couldn't do enough.
Oh, absolutely. Really, really superb.
But of course, we didn't win.
No, we didn't.
So nobody got to hear our acceptance speech.
No.
But through the power and the medium of podcast, we can give an acceptance speech for the award that we didn't win. I guess the only thing I really wanted to say was that the event that we ran that got nominated was the event that we done at Crumlin Road Jail, and it was Drags to Riches Does the 80s. Now, it was the first time we'd done this show.
That's right.
And what a reception we got. I love working at Crumlin Road Jail. It's one of my favourite venues.
Gorgeous.
But I just did want to take the opportunity to say thank you to both Bobby, Phelan and the team at Crumlin Road, because they took a chance on us.
They did.
Didn't they? And it was, you know, it was, I mean, you guys do all the legwork, you know, it's all up to you.
And it's you, but listen, sweetness, it's you that makes it so beautiful and glitzy and glamorous. The production that goes into our shows wouldn't be what they are without you. So, hey ho, whatever we put on stage, you know, as I said last night, you know, none of us look as half as good as what we do without the people in the background.
Well, this is it. But you are the sensational performers. It's yourself. Of course, we've got Pure Bent, we've got Azura Pendergast, Fierce Injection, and Lana Doone. Like the five of yous together as a trope. Like you bring the heights down. Like,
well, we do work hard, and I also want to shout out, especially to any of the other girls who have come along, you know, when we've thrown out about, listen, would you like to do a wee turn? You know, like monotone.
Coral Whole Man Day. We've had
Cherry on Top.
Chrissy Toxicity.
Yeah, all the girls. And there's plenty of work out there. Yeah. There's plenty of work out there. And if you know as well as I do, if the opportunity arises and we need another, I will certainly be on the phone. And I'm always looking for strong, independent, reliable queens who come on time, put their stall out and get on with it.
Yeah. Yeah. And of course, I also just want to thank our audience, the people that actually buy the tickets and come along, because they're the ones that really make the night. They're always up for the crack.
Yeah.
They're always willing to engage with you when you're being
cheeky.
Being sassy.
Sassy, classy, and a little bit badassy.
But I feel that we have a sense like that there is an owed sense of gratitude to the guys in Crumlin Road Jail for allowing us to run that show there, for inviting us back time and time again, because of course we do multiple shows. We don't just do the 80s. We're back there again at the end of August. We're doing the 90s show as well. But the guys up there trust us to do a show.
Yeah.
So I just want to
theme it and put it together and go a wee bit buck daft. You know, and they're always there, and they're lovely to work with. But you know what? Every venue we go to, with Drags to Riches, Crazy Bingo, and the G&T show, I mean, I think this is an opportunity for us to say thank you to all y'all, you know, and keep those bookings coming in, because we will work extra hard to ensure that we will keep that essence of a good old-fashioned, I call it, you know, a backstreet drag show as to what it should be.
It's camp as tits. It's old school camp drag, you know. And you're all I would say you're all triple threats. You can all dance. Yeah. You can all, you know, you can lip sync. You can talk on the mic as well. You know, you've got the comedy element, everything that I absolutely adore. Yeah. In a drag show, you guys,
a good old fashioned backstreet downtown drag show. On the road.
So that was our acceptance speech for not winning the award. We're not winning the award for Event of the Year.
For everybody who voted for us, we applaud you.
But yes, thank you for everybody that took the time to vote. It really means the world, even just to be nominated, because, you know, there was a lot of other worthy contenders within that category. And of course, congratulations to Anya Bex, who won her Event of the Year for Drag Stars at the Maverick. So well done, Anya.
Congratulations, Anya.
But there is one thing that we've not yet talked about. There was the surprise of the evening. Ladies and gentlemen, you are now in the presence of none other than a living legend. No, I don't mean Tina Turner. I don't mean Donna Summer. I mean the queen who has legs from here to Antrim, Miss Tina Legs Tantrum.
Thank you, darling. Thank you so much indeed. Yeah, you know what? And I don't want to get emotional like I did last night, but I had absolutely no idea what was about to unfold. And when they done the Entertainer of the Year, and then they moved on to the P.A. McLaughlin Lifetime Achievement Award. Now, and when it started, what I noticed was everybody fell silent, because this award is about one individual. And Karen, who won it last year and was on stage, then she started to tell her story, but she started off by saying, I'm about to introduce someone shortly who was very kind. And when I call them up, you're not going to believe who it was. Which made everybody very interested. Who is this person? Who is this person? And
so can I actually just quote what she said? So I actually have Karen's speech here. And Karen, thank you so much for writing this speech. What she said was, I mean, it's a 3-page. I'm not going to go through the entire thing, but just the quote that you're mentioning here is that, and we should say that you had no idea about this. Nobody had an idea about this. So it was a very nice surprise. Karen said that they were one of the first people that I met when I come out on my journey to be my authentic self, always greeting me with a smile and kind words of encouragement.
That's so true.
Their work didn't start here. Several decades ago, this person performed at clubs on either side of the peace line during the height of the Troubles, working on both sides of the community. I mean, it goes on, and we'll probably touch on more excerpts of that and as well.
That made me sit back and go, who was that?
But do you know, it's funny because I don't know whether you knew this, but during the Entertainer of the Year, I got a tap on the shoulder from our friend Peter Hamill, who does audio visual and all the rest of it, and he whispered in my ear and he basically said, for the PA award, you just get your camera ready for Tina. So I kind of knew that there was something coming up.
Right, okay.
Of course, I didn't know at any point before then. So that's why I had my camera firmly affixed to the stage. And of course, you know, whenever they announced your name. But nobody knew it was you.
No.
Like, nobody knew. And everybody was sort of questioning who it was.
And then as the story went on, and Azura turned to me and she said, I think it might be Trudy Scrumptious. Because we were starting to realise this is a performer. Mm-hmm. And I was totally transfixed on what was being said. And then I started to think, is that me?
Well, can I tell you?
Go.
So the part that as soon as they said this paragraph, I knew straight away.
Right. Okay.
It was you. I mean, well, I knew anyway, but I think Penny's really started to drop for people. That they were talking specifically about you, because you know sometimes they'll give acknowledgements during speeches and things about people, and but this is when I really kind of knew it was about you and you were going to be the recipient. Karen said at 41 they were crowned Britain's next top drag queen, which was true because that was the birth of Opportunity Frocks in Glasgow, which by the way we're going to do a couple of episodes on in about 4 or 5 weeks time. But they said and there is a connection with Game of Thrones, as Christian Nairns is credited with recommending in 2001 that they should join Brendan O'Carroll's Alternative Miss Ireland in Dublin, only to bring that crown back to Northern Ireland for the first time. Penny dropped instantly. I knew it was you.
Yeah.
And so really began the drag career of one of our most famous entertainers. Absolutely correct. I first met them with their dance troupe in one of the straight bars in the city centre performing on a Thursday evening and was mesmerised by their energy.
Yeah.
Did you realise at this point that they were talking about you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And what happened then was everybody was starting to look at me and everybody was going, it's Tina, it's Tina. Oh my God, it's Tina. And because they were close to me, They were whispering it to each other, but they were saying it so excitedly and they were not wanting me to hear them. And I just had this overwhelming feeling of, oh my God. And as I remember looking sideways at Azura without turning my head kind of thing, and Azura going, it's you.
Well, I actually will, as part of this sort of video podcast thing that we're doing here at the moment, I will put the video in of the moment that they started to, that Karen started to read out these, just sort of so people can see your reaction.
Oh my word.
You became so sheepish.
I did.
You were like, because I think the penny dropped with you and you must have been processing.
I was.
Like wow, like,
It then, when Karen went on to mention about working in fracture clinic in the Royal Victoria Hospital, that I was like, this is about me. But what I found so astonishing was that to get to even the table of being thought of, never mind nominated and then selected, Tina deserves this, and I literally, my head was going closer and closer to the table. And I was going, put your head up. But I did. I brought myself back up and I was like, right, now you need to walk the walk.
Well, Karen also said in her speech that that when you left full-time employment, you evolved into one of Belfast's most prominent queens, and you have since been described as the Queen of the Falls. And you've since went on to create Crazy Bingo Cabaret, and you also performed as Sadie Devine as the Belfast Ma.
That's right.
As well as a participant in 2016's New Voices.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. In an interview with the BBC, you described yourself as flamboyant, and they didn't care about opinions. that they were a storyteller. You're a storyteller.
You're a storyteller.
A joker and a performer.
Yeah.
Everything that's in here is so lovely, by the way. Like, it's such a nice sentiment to you.
It really was. And you know what? When I turned to my left, I didn't know what I was supposed. I literally had a moment where they said Tina Legs Tantrum, and everybody started to clap. And when I like got back up, and I thought, everybody's standing up.
Well, actually, can I just say, I noticed, so you put a post up on your Facebook last night, sort of, thanking people for the recommendation. And actually, one of the Pride committee members,
Jared McAtam,
commented. So I noticed that comment, and his comment was quite humbling, to be honest. It was such a nice thing. He said, I'm going to paraphrase because I don't have the words exactly, but he basically said that you're such a deserved winner, but it was the standing ovation, and it's at that point Pride knew that they had made the right decision to recognise you, which is really nice.
Yeah.
Those
words, and even, he just came over because to take me and guide me, onto the stage safely. But I felt his emotion. And I looked at him, and he looked at me, and I was like, oh my God. And he went, and he kind of was all welling up. And when I think about it now, I start to get a tiny bit emotional because I want to keep this happy clappy, toe tappy. And I went, oh my God, Jared. And he went, I know, love, come on. And I was like, oh my God. And I could see Trudy, and I could see Sean, and I was trying my best to look at people and go, hi, oh my God. And they were putting their hands out. And on the way to the stage, I was thinking, here's what I was thinking. Do you know when you watch the Oscars or you watch the BAFTAs and people are nominated and they actually win, and then they go up on stage and they just go, blah, 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 thank you, and they walk off.
It's like a Sally Fields moment from the Oscars. Do you remember that? She's like, because just couldn't get the words out.
And I was like, don't mess this up.
Well, I have to say, your speech, like, we joked before we started recording. I joked to you, I was like, it felt to me that you've had that speech prepared and rehearsed since you were a wee girl. Like, it was so nice. Your speech was brilliant, I have to say.
Thank you so much.
Unfortunately, my battery died before literally as soon as you got on stage. I know.
Of all the times, of all the recordings, I get a lifetime achievement award, and I come back down off stage and you go, my battery went down.
But to be fair, I got you I got it right up to the point where they read out your name. And then the battery died. I was like, for God's sake, she's not going to believe this. But I have it on good authority that the event was filmed.
Yeah.
And that they will have a copy of your acceptance speech. So we'll get that at some point, and hopefully you'll be able to share that for everybody. Because I think it was such a nice... It just proves why you are one of the best talents in Belfast as a performer, because you... Absolutely, you owned the room, and as Karen's words, you were a storyteller and a joker, and you did all of that. Like, you performed.
I did. I just thought, I felt when there was something, my guardian angel was saying to me, don't mess this up, get it right. And I was smiling, and everybody was clapping, and I was in awe, and I was a wee bit shaky, and I was like, come on, you. Right, big girl, pull yourself together. And then I was like, I have to do a speech. And then, you know me, I'm no stranger to a microphone. That's my playground. But this was different.
Yeah.
This wasn't a drag show. This wasn't me, doing a karaoke. This wasn't me in full flight. This was important. Mm-hmm. And I find it extremely difficult to be serious.
I know, because you normally are looking for somebody in the audience to bounce off.
Yeah.
Whereas this was more of a monologue.
It was.
But you did really well. And like from what I remember of what you said, you talked specifically about, chosen family.
Yeah.
Which is really important, particularly around Pride.
Uh-huh.
There was a recognition there, and you thanked Pride, for all of their hard efforts. But you then went on, and of course you talked about your mum and your dad, and how super proud they are, and how proud your dad would have been, and that famous line about
don't be a drag queen, be the drag queen.
So you literally ticked all for me anyway, and I mean perhaps maybe I might be biased, you know, but you did you did really well. And you know, and even when you'd finished, it was another standing O.
Yeah.
People were up again on their feet, and
I think when I'm good at recognizing things very quickly on stage, and when I say listen, take a wee seat, I was at that moment I was like, right, legs, you need to get on top of this stuff. Take a wee seat, because I'm sure just as much as mine, your hands are aching.
That's right, so you did.
And everybody laughed, and I thought, gotchas. But in a way, I thought, you know, I did state at the very beginning, there are things I'd like to say, and I think they're very important.
Yeah.
But could you do me the honour of just waiting until I'm finished, and I'll take a wee step out, I'll do a bow. Because that was my moment to just talk.
Yeah. But it sort of puts you under pressure as well. People are sort of standing there, you know, like it becomes really awkward if you leave it too long. So I think you owned the room. You did really, really well.
And I was so grateful because, you know, number one, the selection, and I'm so honoured that at this ripe old age of 56 that I could be even considered for something so prestigious within our community, within Northern Ireland. And it has given me a new lease of life, because I'll tell you for why, as you well know, after the lockdowns, I wasn't coming back.
You weren't?
I had a mindset of no. But with your help and a couple of other close friends, I was in a battle with myself. I didn't know it at the time. And I have no qualms talking about this. And there was a lot of mental health issues going on inside myself because I was battling with me, because I had stepped out of this life that I had adored and I loved. But what I also was struggling with, I fell in love with a quieter life. I never had it.
Yeah.
I didn't have Saturday nights and Friday nights and Sunday afternoons by myself. I was always working, and I loved working. But this was a new lease of life, and mummy's in the house and the dog, and I had time to do the garden and wash curtains and sew and bake, you know. And I was like, I don't know if I want to go back to all that anymore. Anyway, moving forward on a far more positive note, it was when you and I talked deeply, and I think what I missed out on was time management and being able to say to them, it's okay to say no, just as much as it is to say yes.
And we talked about that on a past couple of episodes. We talked about the you know, this power of saying no, and you specifically referenced, you know, you've got like a post-it in your kitchen.
I do.
And it says, you know, it's okay to say no, but that was something which was, I remember the conversation where we had this, and it was quite profound in that, like, you felt overwhelmed and you were just doing so much, and I was like, well, just say no.
Yeah, like, you did.
There's no harm in that.
When I decided to go back to Union Street, I wrote that on the post-it and I put it on my fridge. Don't be afraid to say no.
Yeah.
It's okay.
Do what suits you, not what everybody else wants. You know?
And then all of a sudden you have Drags to Riches, and then you have Crazy Bingo, and then you have the G&T karaoke show. But I just think that when it's true what they say, it's you know the old sayings, if it's for you, it'll never pass you.
Yeah.
And I do believe last night was something for my older life, senior life, because I know in my heart now I've got so much more to give. And this path that I'm on with you guys and the podcast, which has become therapy.
It's good. I really enjoy having our wee chats.
I love it. But I think last night, I woke up this morning and Mummy broke her heart.
Take your time.
And
I mean, I'm assuming that she broke her heart just out of pride.
I can't even speak now.
Tell you what we'll do.
No.
We'll take a very quick break.
No, I'm okay. Because if I take a break, I'll cry.
Okay.
So, and I said, Mummy, look, what's that? I said, it's a teddy bear and a picture. Oh, did you win an award? And when I explained what it was I won, why I won it, She cried.
Oh, bless her. Bless her.
Mm-hmm. She said to me, no one will ever be as proud as you as me and your daddy are. And when I relate to what I was talking about last night on stage, it's so personal because I know how proud they are. And I don't like to speak of my daddy in the past tense.
I understand that.
Ironically, I took that one photograph when I was wearing that gorgeous gown that actually covered me up. And there he is in the background on the wall, looking down at me. And I didn't see it.
So this is an Instagram photo or a photograph that you took before going to the awards.
Before going to the awards, it was just the way I caught the picture, and I put it up. And then last night when I got home, I looked at the picture and it jumped out at me.
Yeah,
and I was like, my daddy was there.
Yeah, yeah.
And I just was like, and even now, like what the Pride event, the Pride launch, the Pride week, the Pride celebrations, all the different organizations, everything coming together. I'm sharing this with everybody because I don't want this lifetime achievement award. Like I said last night, I will continue to do this until I drop. As long as my legs will carry me, as long as my favorite part of my body, my brain, continues to function, then I'm going to be okay. Tina Legs Tantrum will last a very long time, I would say. So my therapy has become the finding the time management, not being able to be ashamed of struggling and saying, you do want to go back, you don't want to go back. Why do you want to go back? Why did you not want to go back? Now you're contradicting yourself. And now I found myself looking at a screen that says the P.A. McLaughlin Award winner, Tina Legs Tantrum. And I think we're all winners. Whether you were nominated or not, whether you stepped up on stage and you received an accolade, I just think that we're all winners. Because if we can go from 30 people, 30 plus years ago, to 80,000. And that is just, it's incredible. And that's why I love the build up to Pride, the essence, the camaraderie. I think our wee community is probably one of the most beautiful communities globally. Because we've come through so much, a lot more than other places with what we went through with the Troubles. Yeah. And I was a child of the Troubles. And when the peace process came through, and I really didn't believe it was going to work. And it has. And not only have we become a beacon of hope to the rest of the world, that this can be achieved. It's achievable. Look at what we're doing. Look at our wee country. Yeah. Northern Ireland. Yeah. You know, and we have equality and we have celebrations and and it's nowhere the big humding it used to be. We have investment. We have hope. And we have, you know, just people who want to come and live in Northern Ireland.
And I think the other thing as well is the world didn't end like the naysayers said it would.
Yeah.
You know.
Oh, here, don't even go there with me. I will take my hoops
But actually,
off.
just before we move on, just to sort of let listeners know that next week we are doing the episode of Child Off the Troubles.
We are doing
where we will explore a bit further life growing up in Belfast as Tina Legs Tantrum.
Smack bang wallop right in the middle of it all.
And there's a story or two she'll tell you about Flirt My Soldiers.
I can't keep a good thing down, love. You cannot.
So, like, you know, it's such a great night all in all.
Yes.
But we are now in Pride Week. We're now moving into Belfast Pride Week.
Yes,
of course, the main parade is going to be taking place this Saturday coming. And you know, it's free to go to the parade. If you want to be part of the parade, you can join it at any point. Or if you're not feeling brave, you can just watch it from the sidelines. We will go through the city centre in town. The parade kicks off around 1 o'clock. Yeah. So just here hoping that we get the weather for it.
I think we will, you know, because when I got up this morning, and I'm so superstitious, and I thought, right, going to bucket out of heavens all day today, then that means next Saturday is going to be a scorcher.
Fingers crossed. And we should point out that we are recording this on the Saturday because both you and I are off on our jollies for the next 2 weeks.
We are. We're taking a well-deserved break.
Tina's off to her favourite place on the planet,
Gran Canaria.
And I'm off on a cruise. And of course, if anybody's been listening to our podcast, especially the Wish You Were Here or the Wish You Were Where episode, we're doing what we do every year when we go away.
Yeah, exactly.
So look, I have a question, right? What does pride mean to Tina Leg's Tantrum?
Pride to Tina Leg's Tantrum means home. And I think everybody will know when I say that. It's when you're really young and you're carefree and you don't understand the world, and you say and do things that adults will go, that's naughty, you can't say that, you can't do that. And when you get a little bit older, then you start getting chastised because of the things you were allowed to say when you were a little bit younger. Stay with me on this. You start to conform, and you don't really know where you're supposed to be, what you're supposed to be doing, what you're supposed to be saying. And that can be quite challenging. So, when you find a place where you can say what you want, you can dress how you like, you can be as flamboyant as your heart desires, and a community that will not look at you twice. They'll just look at you and call you by your name, Tina. That to me is a home where you get to thrive and live and be totally, authentically your gorgeous, big, beautiful gay self. That's what pride means to me. Always did, and it always will. What does pride mean to you, Glenn?
Pride to me, it means a lot.
Good.
But to me, when I think of pride, I just think of unity. That's that one simple word. It's the one day of the year in whatever city that you're living in, that if they celebrate pride, it brings together everybody. It's that one day where there is a united celebration. You don't have to be gay to enjoy pride. You can be, you can present however you want to present, and by and large, particularly in Belfast, nobody will bat an eyelid.
No.
It's not to say that it's without its, controversy, but it brings together a lot of people who would not necessarily be together for any other reason other than to celebrate, being, as you've said, your authentic self. Yeah. So for me, pride is about uniting. It's about unity. And of course, you cannot spell community without unity, know. So yeah, it for me, it's about the celebration of just being together as a collective group of beings.
Good. Well, it's nice that we have our own different perceptions on it.
For sure.
Then, on Pride Day, it's just that lovely come together kind of real heart community. And then the big custom square.
Yeah, the
party opener event, party in the square. And then you have street parties. And
the thing about Pride, which you've got to bear in mind, is that I don't really walk the parade. I watch the parade.
Okay.
Whereas you are the parade.
Smack bang wall.
You are always in the middle of it. So
yeah.
I'm seeing in Pride, I've only ever seen Pride from the sidelines, if that kind of makes sense. So I don't have all of that experience of all the pre-meets that goes on at a venue where you're meeting up with your other sort of, venue sisters, shall we say, the other queens and those people that are going to be taking part in the parade, where I can only imagine there's a sense of excitement and everybody's really bubbling.
Yeah.
Whereas from my point of view, I'm like, this thing needs to hurry up and get down the bloody road already. Do you know that way? So that's kind of where I'm seeing it, maybe slightly different than because your experience of Pride is completely different to mine.
Yours, yeah. You're the spectator and I'm the participator.
Yeah. Yeah.
No, I've always wondered about that. You know what it would be like to watch it, and I don't ever think I ever would. You know what I mean? I never want to be on the sidelines. I want to be right in the thick of it.
Yeah.
You know, I'm not going to come this far, you know, and then all of a sudden, you know, think, oh, I'll just watch it this year. I'm not going to bother because it's too important.
Yeah.
It's far too important for me to think like that.
Yeah.
I just want to be able to go, no, I'll be there.
Yeah.
Count me in. Because my pride juices start flowing around the beginning of July, and I start thinking to myself, right, big girl, it's near time to hit the road and get the flags and all in the air now and get the whole public out.
But it's normally a good day out. I mean,
it's the best day.
I haven't really been able to go to Pride the past couple of years.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, because of my commitments and stuff and holidays, just the way things fall, I always end up booking a holiday away over Belfast Pride. But I am for Manchester Pride this year.
Oh, right. Okay. Well,
booked that on a whim.
You're doing your bit.
I am. Unfortunately, I'm not celebrating or supporting local, but I am going for the celebration.
Well, I also think Pride is a kind of bit like, it's like gay Christmas. It really is. Like, I mean, it's full on.
And of course, leave it to the gays to have more than one Christmas in a year, because we've got Eurovision.
Of course.
We've got Pride.
Yes.
And of course, the old school opportunity frocks was always gay Christmas as well. So
yeah. Well, you never know what might happen in 2025.
I'm away next year as well. I've already booked my holidays for next year.
October.
Oh, yes, I know what you're talking about now. Mm-hmm. Okay, well, stay tuned for that. That's a discussion for another episode.
Yes. You can send us in some questions, ladies and gentlemen, for both Glenn and I. You can contact us on our WhatsApp.
Yeah, we're also on Instagram, we're on TikTok, we're on Facebook, you're on email. You'll find all of the ways of getting in touch with us in the very description of this episode as well. But just on the subject of questions.
Okay.
Sip and share.
So, Glenn Marshall Adams, we have a question for you.
For me?
Yes, yes. And it's from one of our dedicated followers to Sips and Giggles, from Burnsy Kaz on Instagram. And
hi, Burnsy Kaz.
Hi, Burnsy Kaz. Burnsy Kaz would like to know, when you were growing up, did you have a crush on someone? And if you did, who was it?
Oh, like, was it a celebrity crush or something, was it? Or
any crush?
Oh.
Who was your crush? We all had a crush.
I mean, I'll go for celebrity. I mean, okay, this is kind of embarrassing. I don't really like talking about myself like this.
Go on.
So, do you ever remember the TV program Saved by the Bell?
Yes.
When I wake up in the morning and it da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da. So anyway, it's all right because I'm saved by the bell. So I used to watch that. And do you remember the actor in it, Mario Lopez?
I do.
And he was like proper Latin, slick hair, like, you know, swarthy skin.
Dark eyes.
I was obsessed. And even now, like, as an older gentleman, like, he's still a bit all right.
Yeah, so he is. See, now I got a man crush. Your boy crush.
A mush for mushroom. So, yeah, I don't know, that's a bit random. Like, this is why I don't do well with questions.
But I like the randomness of it all.
What about you? Did you have any sort of celebrity crushes that weren't Tin Henman or Sylvester Stallone?
I had a different crush every day. My head was pickled. So it was, I used to look at someone and go, oh my God, he's gorgeous. I mean, he'd be lovely, the guy. He'd be lovely. Honestly.
Did you have it? Is there anything particular that was particularly when you were like a teenager?
Do you know who? When I was a teenager, when I was a wee girl, do you know who I was really in love with? Because he had really long hair as well, and he was a professional tennis player. And I actually imagined us getting married and all. Do you remember the tennis player, Andre Agassi?
I do.
Him.
I do. Wow.
That was the only reason I watched tennis. So
was he good with balls? Was it?
He was amazing. See his backstroke. Swear to Almighty God. When the umpire used to shout "new balls," I'd have been, I'm going to get them now. Andre, come on.
Gag.
I loved him. He was hot.
Gag. Well,
still is.
I mean, I don't. As we discussed in the last episode, I don't watch tennis. I don't follow tennis.
Do you know what?
So.
Do you know what? You put me a bit in mind of him. Do you know why?
Really?
Yeah. So he's no her either.
Remind me why we're friends again. I mean, harsh.
Hit the road, Jack.
Very, very harsh.
And don't you very harsh.
Thank you so much, Kat, for your question. Burnsy Kaz. Really appreciate that. That is all we've got time for.
I know.
This has been a very special Pride edition of
Unbelievable.
G&T's Hips and Giggles.
Yeah.
Congratulations again, Lexi. You have now truly reached legend status.
It's in the name. It's in the name.
Tina Legend. Tina Legend. Tina Legs Legend. That's a tongue twister, that one.
Tina Legend Tantrum.
I see, it's hard.
Tina Legend Tantrum. Tina Legend Legs Tantrum.
Yes,
anyway, but just good old Tina Legs.
Tina Legs. Why does it have 2 G's?
Because I've got 2 legs.
Thank you so much.
Everybody, thank you.
Yes, thank you. But congratulations again. I'm so super proud of you.
Thank you.
So deserved. Question is why did you not get it bloody sooner? Is all I'm going to say.
Well, I wasn't supposed to because it wasn't the right time, and now it's the right time. So do you know what?
Yes.
Happy Belfast Pride 2024, everybody, and thank you so much for your continued support and love for everything that we do, because we enjoy all the communities who come to all the shows in all of the venues. So happy Pride.
Yes, happy Pride.
Chin, chin.
Chin, chin. So don't forget, we also have our Drags to Riches show coming up.
Yes, we do, on the 31st of August, which is a Saturday.
It is, and we're doing not the 80s. We have went all out, and this time we're doing the 90s.
We are.
So get your tickets. Get your tickets.
I can't wait.
They're all available through dragstoriches.show, or you can just Google Crumlin Road Jail. Tina, it's been a pleasure. Until
too,
next
Glenn,
time,
my darling.
Stay fabulous.
Always. Love you.
Bye.
Don't forget to follow us on Instagram at G&T Pod. Also, thank you to those people that took the time to write in a question. If you would like to write in a question or send us a voice note, you'll find the details in the description of this episode. And of course, if we haven't already asked enough of you, please subscribe and leave a review, but be kind. Much love, G&T.